I'll start the stream. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this annual meeting of Sutton Parish Council. So we have, starting with the first item on the agenda, 0121, election of chairman for the year 2021-22. So first item is to elect the chairman. Bob is indicating.
I would propose that that Mark stays as chairman if he so wishes to.
I'm happy to be nominated. Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay. Do we have any other nominations? So I guess we just need to do a vote on that proposal. Then we can see those in favour.
That's unanimous, Chairman.
Okay, yeah, better vote for myself. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So I will sign my declaration of acceptance and then drop that into Rosie. 21-22, appointment of vice chair for the year 2021-22. Bob is indicating. Bob Harker.
I propose Bob Brown continues in his role.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Seconded.
Right, very quick there, Brett. So we've got that. Any other nominations? Okay, can I see those in favour of Bob as the vice chairman?
Unanimous, thank you.
Okay. Then we get on to the to receive and note apologies for absence.
I haven't received any apologies. We're still waiting for Jess.
Okay, okay, then 421 to receive and note any declarations of interest. So first of all, has anyone got any personal interest on any items on the agenda? Any prejudicial interest on any items on the agenda, or any pecuniary interests on any items on the agenda? Okay, 521 public participation. I don't believe we've got any members of the public who wanted to participate.
No.
Okay, matters 621 matters for information only, to receive information from the parish clerk on councillor.gov email addresses.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. This is something that we've had on the cards to arrange for a little while now, and we have got them all ready to send to you. So we're going to be sending them out. Melissa's actually going to be doing it tomorrow, and you'll receive your .gov email address with your unique password, of which you will need to change, with a full list of setting up instructions. Any problems, do come back to Melissa or I. We can help you through the process. And we will then, once we've got everybody signed up okay, we will then start using them going forward to call the next meetings and for any communications with you.
Okay, thank you. So then we go on to 721 to appoint members onto standing committees and review terms of reference. So we'll start with the personnel committee, and the first thing we have to do is to review the terms of reference, which were circulated with the agenda. Anybody have any questions on those terms of reference? Are we happy to accept those terms of reference as presented or as circulated? So I guess we need to formally do this. So I'll propose that we accept the terms of reference for the personnel committee. Have a seconder for that. So I think that was Andrew. Can I see those in favour of the terms of reference?
That's unanimous, thank you.
Okay, now to appoint members onto the personnel committee. So the chair and the vice chair of the council are already members, so we need another, is that right? Oh no, yes, and we need another 4 members, if I understood that correctly. So can I have volunteers for the personnel committee, which generally meets around about twice a year?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Brian, Helen, Andrew and Stan. Anybody else? If not, that makes it nice and easy because that's 4. Can I think?
Everybody.
Yeah. So I guess we just need to, as it's a committee, we ought to formally approve that, haven't we?
Yes.
So I'll propose those 4 names to be members of the personnel committee. I see a seconder for that proposal, that's Bob. Okay, can I see those in favour?
Do you want that?
That's unanimous, thank you.
Okay. Planning committee. So there we've got the terms of reference of the planning committee, which I'm. So this, so actually the agenda is wrong on this point, isn't it? Because it says 4 members plus the chair and the vice chair, but planning committee is 9.
Yeah, I think we changed it to 9.
Yeah. Okay. So if we go with that, well, I guess we need to agree the terms of reference to start with. Can I see? Does anybody have any comments on that? I don't think there are any changes, are
There's
there?
no changes.
Okay, I'm happy to propose that we approve those terms of reference. Do we have a seconder? That's Brian. See that those in favour of those terms of reference?
That's unanimous, thank you.
Unanimous. Okay, so this one we're looking for a total of 9 if we're going to fill the full complement.
Mark, may I just say a word?
Okay, Bob, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
This is a committee that I've sat on in the past, and as you and Rosie both know, I'm standing down from the planning and indeed all the other working parties and indeed the council at the end of this meeting. So with regret, I shan't be putting myself forward for any of the committees or working parties going forward. Thank you.
But encourage other people to put their names forward.
Well, that would be very nice. There's a lot of new talent come forward in the last year or 2, and I hope they'll take this opportunity of grasping the nettle.
So generally, while we've been meeting virtually, we haven't had a separate planning committee just because of the complication of trying to have too many virtual meetings. But this normally meets once a month, doesn't it? Do we have a regular?
3rd Tuesday, I think that's right, isn't it, Melissa? 3rd Tuesday of the month, week before full council.
Okay, so can I see all the volunteers we've got for that? So
Looking like Sheila, Brian, Helen, Stan, Andrew, Brendan, Luke.
how many names have you got there?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, and so that will, we can have 2 vacancies if we haven't got any further volunteers, because the quorum is only 3. So yeah. So those 7 names, I'll propose that those 7 names are appointed to the planning committee. Do I have a seconder for that proposal, Bob? I see those in favour. Those 7 names. It's unanimous again.
Yeah.
Okay. So 8.21 is to appoint members onto the management committee. So we have two management committees. The first one is it's the Village Hall, Brooklands Management Committee. So this, we have two members and one reserve. So this meets twice a year. And so the background to this is that the building that is at least part occupied or occupied and managed by the Royal British Legion Club. The large hall in there is the Village Hall. The building is effectively leased by from the parish council. We have a management committee that consists of the parish council, the British Legion Club, and when it's functioning, also members of the British Legion branch as well. I think for the last couple of meetings, it's just been the club and parish council representatives who've actually been at the meeting. So it's two meetings a year, generally no more than about an hour long. And currently, I think that's been Brendan, Brett, and myself who've been on that. Do we have any volunteers to serve on that this time around?
Are you happy to stand as a reserve? I see you've got two members and a reserve.
Okay. So are we happy that Brendan and Brett are the two members and Brian is the reserve? I think that's the proposal. Can I see those in favour of that proposal? Well, I'll propose. Yeah, do we need to propose for a second, or do we just need to vote on these?
We ought to have a proposer and a seconder.
Okay, I'll propose.
Second.
Those names.
And Stan.
Second, Stan.
Yeah.
Yeah, those in favour? And that's
everybody.
unanimous.
Thank you.
So the glebe management team. So I'm only standing down, but I wonder if Bob, you could say a couple of words about just what the glebe management committee is and does.
We are mandated to look after the glebe as a building in conjunction with the PCC, that's the Church Council, and there's two members of the PCC and two members of the Parish Council with a reserve member on both sides. And we meet twice a year, an annual meeting and an extra meeting depending on the pressures upon us. It's really just a means of communication between one and the other. I think it's been quite successful in terms of agreeing the maintenance, for instance, of the lime trees down the side of the glebe driveway, identifying marketing opportunities for getting new business into the glebe for hiring, because clearly our success is in some ways the PCC success, who originally owned the building. So that's why we have this committee meeting.
Okay, do we have any volunteers for the glebe management committee? So Brian, Steve, need a reserve member.
I could be reserve.
Okay, shall we? So I'll propose, so Brian and Steve would be the members with Sheila as the reserve member. I'll propose that. Can somebody second that for me? So I think Andrew was first. I see those in favour of that proposal.
Unanimous, thank you.
Okay, that's the management committees appointed. Next, we have representatives on undermentioned bodies. The first one is the joint HCV committee. I hadn't appreciated actually we had 3 members on this. This is quite a long-standing group. That's what it was originally set up actually from I think Sutton Parish Council took the lead, and it involves a number of representatives of parish councils, plus there are a number of residents who are also part of that committee. And the primary purpose is around trying to tackle the problems of HCVs in various villages. So I can't remember the full list of parishes that are involved, but it certainly includes representatives from Cottenham, Haddenham, Erith, I think Luntersham, I think Willingham is also represented, and the one that doesn't quite fit in is just a little bit farther afield is Hilton. I think that's the complete list. That meets probably roughly around about every two or 3 months, probably every 2 months, I would say. It's been meeting at the moment. It'd be interesting to see whether that continues to meet on Zoom or face to face, because it doesn't actually need to meet face to face. We have sometimes hosted it, sometimes it's been in Bluntisham. I think those are the only 2 venues I can think of that it's regularly been held in. Can I see volunteers for this? I'm going to volunteer myself because I've been on this for a while and I'd like to continue. Do we have other volunteers for the HCV committee? You don't need to fill all 3 places, but it would be good if it was somebody else as well as me.
Oh,
That's Brendan.
Oh, Brendan, sorry, yeah.
Brendan.
Okay. So let's go
You're
with
on your own.
let's go with 2 then, so I'm not on my own. So I'll propose that Brendan and myself are the two names there. Can I have a seconder for that proposal? Stan. Can I see those in favour of that proposal? And unanimous. The next one is Ely Power Resources. This is, of course, the straw burning plant, the power station on the business park. So this, I think, is supposed to meet twice a year. We actually, the last meeting was in April, and there was quite a long gap before that. So we, I don't know if Brett or Bob, because you were at the last meeting, want to just quickly explain what that is about.
Yeah, it's just basically liaising with the power station as to how things are going, any effects that, or any complaints the village have about it, anything they want to move forward, that they're happy and open to communicate with the village what they plan on doing. When they tried some wood chip trials, they were very, very open about it, with extra sensors all around the place. Monitored things very, very closely and are very open to reporting any problems. It's just, I think they just want to say this is an open book, and if you've got any problems about the power station, please talk to us. We will do our best to fix it. It's been a very amicable arrangement so far. I've only attended about 4, maybe 5 meetings. But it's been very amicable and very, very open.
So we've got 2 representatives on that. I'm actually also on that as a district councillor. So can I see, do we have volunteers for that? But I should actually say the meetings themselves are in a conference room normally. So the last one was by Zoom, but normally they're face to face in a conference room during the daytime at the power station. And if you're lucky, you get a little bit of a walk around the power station as well, which is quite interesting. So yeah, so Steve, you were volunteering, and do we have another name?
Luke.
Luke, okay. Can I see?
Mostly daytime, Mark.
It is daytime, yeah. Can I see? Okay, no. If we go with that, so I'll propose those 2, Luke and Steve. Any seconder for that?
Brendan.
Brendan was first. Okay, can see those in favour of that proposal. Unanimous again.
Thank you.
Good. So that's the mentioned bodies. Next, we've got the finance related ones. And I'll ask the clerk to take us through each of these and what the roles are.
Okay, the first one, the finance and online banking. These are the 4 bank signatories, which are currently Mark, Bob Brown, Stan and Brett. If they're happy to continue, that sort of would be useful, because obviously we'd be requiring to change the bank mandate, but of course the role is open to everybody.
Yeah, happy to continue. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to continue.
Yeah, I'm happy. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll propose that we continue with the existing names. Can I have a seconder for that? So Helen was first there. Those in favour?
Unanimous.
Unanimous. We don't actually sign anything these days, apart from the original form. We just log on and approve things. Bank reconciliation. Can you explain this one to us?
Yes, this is 2 members of the council, and each month the bank reconciliation is produced by myself, and it's usually done within the finance working party, although recently, because of having to meet on Zoom, it's been delivered to the councillors' houses. But 2 members just go through the bank reconciliation to check it off, to make sure there's no anomalies, and have got an opportunity to ask any questions of me should they wish to do so. Currently it's Bob Harker and Brian Watson, so with Bob's news we will definitely need one other person if Brian's happy to continue.
I am happy to continue.
It's probably worth adding it shouldn't be a bank signatory, it should be.
Oh, that's right, yes, that's right, independent from the bank signatories.
Yeah.
So Brian's happy to continue.
So Andrew, you're muted, but I'm guessing the hand is.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, no, yeah, I'll be happy to do it, yeah.
Okay, so I'll propose Andrew and Brian as the for the bank reconciliation. Can I have a seconder for that? Bob was first. See those in favour?
Unanimous.
Looks unanimous again. And the health and safety monitoring.
Yeah, the health and safety monitoring, it's a task that Melissa undertakes as one of her duties, and Melissa produces the paperwork to enable 2 members to go to visit all of the council owned facilities, and also the ones that we lease, just to check on all of the buildings for their health and safety requirements. It is a big task, but it's not a big task. It's a bit difficult to explain, really. It's something that we do a couple of times a year, and it's probably about a couple of days' work, would you say? I think it's Bob and Brett that have currently been taking the job. So, it's arranging to go to each facility with the keys, have a look around and tick off the sheets to do the health and safety checks. Anything's then reported back to the office, and we can pick up on anything that we need to address.
Okay. Do we have any volunteers for that?
I'll stay on.
Right.
Is that normally done during the day, Brett or Rosie or whoever?
It has been, just by the nature of the people being available to do it during the day, but arrangements could be made to do it during an evening or a Saturday morning, something like that. And places like the burial ground, it's just always open, and play park's always open.
Sheila, are you asking a question or volunteering?
I'm volunteering if no one else is.
Thank you very much, Sheila. Then I think we all. So I'll propose Brett and Sheila are the 2 people for the health and safety monitoring. Can I see those in favour of that? Oh, no, I need a seconder. Can I see those seconding? I have a seconder. Andrew, I think, was first. I see those in favour.
Unanimous, thank you.
Okay, so we next move on to 1121 to appoint parish council members to working parties. So we've got 6 of those in total. I'll ask for each one, I'll ask the person who's been leading that working party for the past year to just give a quick introduction as to what those are. So I'll start off with the financial reporting and controls, because that was me. So this is one we meet usually once a month, and we do the more detailed reviewing of the finances. So we look at the debtors' records, we look at the council's expenditure. So we get a report that shows what the expenditure is each month, and any other financial related items where we sort of make recommendations to the that then come to the full council, plus the internal audit. So a lot of those other things are things where we do the detailed review and then make the recommendation to the full council. That's that one. And with these working parties, we haven't got any fixed numbers of people.
No. Chairman, could I also just add, it's worth considering that working parties going forward can still be held virtually.
Yeah.
Unless we want to, there's not a necessity to have to meet face to face because they're not statutory called meetings.
Yeah, I think with each one, I think we'll need to decide what is most appropriate. But for example, with finance and reporting, that probably is easily lends itself to meeting virtually, because we're just looking through lots of papers and figures. Can I see volunteers then for the finance reporting and controls working party? And I'd like to include myself in that one. So we've got me, Bob, Brown, Andrew and Brendan. Okay, can I see those? I'll propose that those 4 names. Seconded by Stan. Those in favour of those 4?
Thank you.
Traffic and transport. I'll ask Bob Harker to just sort of give a quick summary as to what this working party does.
Thank you, Chairman. I've only looked after the group for, I think it's one year only. You did it before me, Mark. The priorities we've identified for investment have been looked at quite closely, and we've agreed what they should be. And then we have an option of either trying to push through those through a scheme run by the County Council, County Highways Department, called the LHI scheme, or whether we self-fund it completely with our SIL receipts. We're also empowered to help with the neighbourhood plan review, which is going to look at the transport section in its entirety. And of course, we also respond to any parishioners' concerns as best we can on traffic-related matters. I suppose the more recent activity has been the installation of the 20-mile-an-hour zone through the high street and surrounding roads has been the biggest change that the working party has been instrumental in achieving. Do you want to say any more? We meet once a quarter, something like that, once every 2 months.
Okay. Can I see volunteers for that working party? I will volunteer for that one. So Beth, I'll wait for all the hands to go up and then I'll go through. So I see, so me, Sheila, Beth, Stan, Andrew, Brendan.
Yeah.
So I propose those 5 names.
I've got 6 on my list here.
Okay, I can't count. I probably wasn't counting myself. 6 names. Can I see a seconder for that? Well, I think Bob Brown was first, but that might only be because I was looking in his direction. So see those in favour of those 6 names?
That's unanimous, thank you.
Unanimous?
Was Jess on that one, Rosie,
Uh,
previously?
Yes.
But,
Yes.
but she could be added at a later date, couldn't she, to this thing?
yes, we can let Jess know that there are some vacancies on committees and the working parties.
Yeah. Okay, next we've got sports and recreation. So this is me looking at the, we've got some limits on what we can do at the moment. We're looking at the existing sort of sports and recreation facilities that we've got. So that's things like the play areas and the playing fields. And we've also been looking at some of the things like the old rec. This potentially becomes more, we'll have scope to do some more things, assuming that there's progress on the planning application for the sort of the later phase of the development that Linden Homes are currently building. We know they've got we know they've submitted a planning application. The last I've heard is that it's likely to be decided in June or July by the district council, at which point there's a policy that needs to comply with the neighbourhood plan, which talks about providing more facilities for recreation. So I think the working party will need to start thinking about later in the year, thinking about how we can make use of those facilities and work and consulting with the village to see what sort of things people will want to see. So that's sports and recreation. So can I see people who want to serve on the sports and recreation working party? And I'll put myself again. So currently I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I'm right this time with 5.
Beth, Stan, Andrew, Brendan.
And me.
2, 3, 4, 5. That's right.
Okay, so I'll propose those 5 names, and can I have a seconder? Brian was first. Those in favour?
It's unanimous, thank you.
Neighbourhood plan. So this is one we resurrected 2 or 3 months ago to kick off the review of the neighbourhood plan. Based on the timescales that we've got from our planning consultant, this should be completed within probably by Easter next year. I think he gave us a scenario that it was a little bit quicker, but let's say that's roughly the time frame. In reality, I think to be meeting monthly, probably through to the end of the summer, and maybe into the early autumn. After that, we'll probably meet less frequently because we will have completed the update of the neighbourhood plan, and it'll be working through the statutory stages it has to go through before it can go for approval. And we will be asking, actually we're already asking whether there are any local residents also looking to serve on that, because I think at the moment there are just parish councillors plus Lorna Dupre as a district and councillor and county councillor, but we can also have some local residents join that if they're interested. So for now, can I see any councillors who are interested in joining the neighbourhood plan or continuing on the neighbourhood plan working party? And again, I'll indicate for that.
Sheila.
Dan and myself. Okay, which are the 3 that are there at the moment? Can I see? Okay, I'll propose those 3. Can I have a seconder? Andrew. Okay, so see those in favour of Stan, Sheila, and myself.
Unanimous, thank you.
I wasn't sure if Steve was
Where's Steve? Oh, no, yes,
Everyone.
Steve's got his hand up. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So yeah, if we are aware of any local residents who are interested in that, if we can encourage them to pass their or to contact, I think Rosie in the first instance,
Yeah,
or
please,
the
thank you.
parish council email address. Public open spaces. Brian, do you want to tell us a little bit about this one?
Yes, this is a working party comprising representatives of the parish council and conservation group, local garden group, and it's really about coordinating the efforts of those different interests in the public spaces around our village. And we meet roughly once a month or so, and some good work's already come out of those discussions. So the wish is to take that forward. Now we can get out and about a little easier.
And that's also got representatives from the different groups, hasn't it? The conservation.
Yeah, I did say that. The garden conservation garden group, garden club, I should say. So yes, it's quite diverse interests represented on it.
Yeah. Okay. So can I see people who want to join that working party?
I'm game.
Anyone going to keep Brian company on that?
Doesn't require a whip and a chair.
Right.
Brett. Okay. So I'll propose Brian and Brett for the open spaces, public open spaces working party. Can I have a seconder for that? Bob was first, Bob Brown. Okay. And can I see those in favour of that proposal?
It's unanimous, thank you.
The last one is climate change. So Beth, can you say a few words about the climate change working party?
Yeah, we're a working group. We don't meet that regularly at the moment because I've been very ill, but we will be meeting hopefully monthly now that I'm better. We're basically trying to work on the climate footprint of the village, just making the village more eco-friendly. Our most recent project, or our coming up project, is going to be electric charging points, hopefully. So yeah.
Okay, so can I see people who want to serve on that working party, on the climate change working party?
Mark, Sheila, Brian, Beth, Stan, Andrew, and Luke.
That's 8 if I've counted correctly.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7.
Yeah.
You just run through who that was again then? Sorry, it was
Yourself, Sheila, Brian, Stan, Beth, Andrew, and Luke.
Okay. Okay, I'll propose those names. Can I have a seconder? Beth was first that time. Those in favour of those people joining the climate working party?
It's unanimous, thank you.
Okay. Right, now we're on to 12.21 review of policies. So we've got to review and adopt standing orders, and I'll ask the clerk to summarise what's changed or what's proposed to change compared to the previous set of standing orders.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm just getting them up on my screen. There are just a couple of changes which I've highlighted in red on the copy that was sent to you with the agenda. My screen's taking forever to scroll down. Oh, my screen is frozen. I don't know, Chairman, if you have got yours open in front of you.
Yeah, I'm just...
Page 7, Rosie, I think, if you can get there, the first changes.
can't.
I thought it was page 22, isn't it? Because it's the contracting limits.
It's regarding the contract limits. I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't get my
Yeah. So, if looking at that, then the values for a public contract that's regulated by the public contract regulations, the limit has gone up from 181,302 for a public service to 189,330 public service or supply contract, and then for a public works contract it's gone from 4,551,413 pounds to 4,733,252. And then for a social or other specified services contract from, didn't seem to have a threshold for that before, but it's now, is it 663,540? Oh, and then you've got the similar one with supply of gas, heat, electricity, and so on. So anything with an estimated value in excess of 36342 is the old figure, and 378660 is a new figure. And then we've got the two limits for what have we got there? The limit for the public works contract again, and then we've got a limit for social and other specific services. And I think those are the only changes, aren't they? So
yes.
Yeah, I know that's just national legislation that impacts those. Okay. So I propose, unless anyone's got any questions.
Councillor Partington's got a hand up.
Yeah.
I noticed that it still refers to the European Union. Is that just how it will be?
That's what we're being informed it is at the moment. This has come down from the National Association of Local Councils.
That's because it's legislation that was taken into UK law, and so the UK law.
Right. I wondered if it was something like that.
Yeah. So at some point, I would expect that will get changed, but it's not yet. Okay. So I'll propose, if there's any other questions. No, if not, then I'll propose that we adopt the standing orders with those revisions. Do I have a seconder? Brian was first. See those in favour? Alex, unanimous. And then could you explain to us what's changed on the financial regulations?
Yeah, I am struggling with I try to avoid printing a copy out unnecessarily.
Must admit, I struggle to see. Oh, you've got. I don't think anything has changed, has it?
Nothing has come through with any changes from any legislation or any information from NAUC. So with this one, it would just be if we wanted to change any limits that we're allowed to change. But I know the Finance Working Party put a proposal in during last year to make an increase on what the RFO was allowed to spend, and we increased that to £1,000.
Yeah. So does anybody want to change anything? Are we happy to leave it as it is? As we're not changing it, can we just note it rather than?
Yes, nothing's changing.
Yeah. Okay, so if no one's got any questions or concerns on that, we'll just note that one rather than have a vote. We've got one, so 1321, one planning application. So that's 20-01011 FUM. So this is the amendment for the development described above, removal of proposed silos and grinding machine. So originally it was additional of 6 material storage silos, plant enclosure, extension, new loading area, canopy and pallet storage. So we've had the original application in previously, and we will have considered that previously. I'm trying to remember what we
made no comment, Chairman.
Okay. Are we happy to make no comment again?
Yeah.
Indeed, yeah.
Okay. So everyone's happy with that, we'll leave that to the District Council. That moves us on to the last neighbourhood plan working party meeting. So that was on the 26th of April, so it was the day before our last full council meeting. So I gave a verbal update, as you can see from the notes of the working party. There was more detail there, but it just recaps what I said last time. So I won't go through all of that unless anyone has any questions. We're happy to note the to receive the notes for that working party meeting, and then I'll move on to the recommendation. Okay, then the recommendation, and this is something we need to formally capture in the council minutes, is to write to East Cambridgeshire District Council to request the updated neighbourhood plan be based on the revised Sutton Parish boundary. So what happened, that though in 2018-2019 there was a change in the or several changes in the parish boundaries. We'd started the neighbourhood plan on the old parish boundaries, and because it started on that when it was approved in referendum in May 2019, it was on the old boundaries. Now that we're reviewing it again, we're proposing to align it with the new parish boundaries. In practice, that means that there are a few properties and some land on the border with Meeple that now moves into Meeple. So that's the field opposite Brick Lane as you go into Meeple, plus the properties on the Witcham to Meeple Road, where in the past those that were on the far side away from Sutton were in Meeple or Witcham, depending on which bit of the road you were in, and on the other side were in Sutton, and so the ones that are on the Sutton side of the road are now in Meeple, and then Amberley Kennels moved from Witcham to Meeple, and then there was a bit of a small change towards Erith on the boundaries between Hadnam and Sutton. So we need to sort of formalise this process, and you'll see from the minutes the other thing we'll need to do is to get confirmation from each of those parishes. Although actually thinking about it, I'm not convinced we do need to get permission from Witcham, because actually something moved we moved a part of Witcham into Sutton, so it's not been affected. It's now in Sutton Parish. It wasn't in, so I don't think we actually need to get that approval. I think, Rosie, you're looking a bit critical.
Yeah, that could be absolutely right, but I can just drop a message to Ed and just check with him.
Yeah. No, I think I'm trying to think of a way of explaining it. When when the neighbourhood plan was made, it didn't include Amberley Kennels because that was in Witcham. Now that is in Sutton. When we that boundary change between the two parishes has already taken place, but there's no impact from a Witcham parish perspective on the neighbourhood plan because they were never in any part of the neighbourhood plan. There is an impact on Meeple and on Hadnam, but I'm sure Witcham won't have a problem anyway if we just advise them. So I'm proposing that recommendation, and this just kicks off part of the formal process. Do I have a seconder for the recommendation? Sheila was first. Any questions or comments on that? If not, I'll propose that we go ahead and do that. Can I see those in favour? That's unanimous.
Yes.
Okay. And then 1521, report from the clerk on legislation for virtual meetings.
Thank you, Chairman. I sent a report out with the agenda, and at that point in time, we didn't know which way the High Court judgment was going to go with being allowed to have the continuation of virtual meetings. Unfortunately, it's come down on the side where virtual meetings are going to come to an end on the 7th of May in line with the Coronavirus Act. The challenge was actually against the Local Government Act 1972 Schedule 12, just to challenge whether meeting virtually was allowed. Sort of it was based on words really about whether you all being virtual means that you are actually in attendance at the meetings. The 1972 Act obviously just referred to being face to face in a room because virtual wasn't a thing back in 1972. So on the second page of the report, I've given two scenarios. So as the outcome of the court hearing is that no further virtual meetings can be held, we are going to be looking at the option one. So the recommendation from me is that in the event that it's not possible to convene a virtual meeting, and this is for full council meetings and statutory called committee meetings, as I said earlier, our working parties could continue virtually if the working party wished to do so. So the proposal is that after this evening, the council delegates decisions to the parish clerk, and these will be made in accordance, in consultation with the chairman and or the vice chairman, and any decision made will be reported to the first full face-to-face meeting, which we're envisaging will be the end of June, providing the government roadmap is adhered to. Otherwise, it could be July. Now, whilst I have said that any decisions on behalf of the parish council, I'm going to say that really we can hold most items on the agenda over for 1 month. So there won't actually be anything to decide upon other than things, for example, payment of salaries and some contractors. Any planning decisions that need to be made, the planning application information will be emailed around to you all so that we can collate any views that you may have to go into the decision that goes forward. So that's the proposal, and it's similar to what we did in the first lockdown before we had the virtual meetings put in place.
Okay, anybody got any questions or comments on that? Are we happy with the recommendations that we've got, that we give the clerk the delegated powers until we have our first meeting, which we assume at the moment, based on the current government timetable, is the 22nd of June, but if that delays, then we move to July.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll propose that we go with those those two recommendation, well, option, do I need to be explicit? So effectively we're going with option 1 because that's the only one that we can do. So the recommendation is that the annual meeting of the parish council, the clerk has given delegated powers as per the first lockdown until the full council meeting scheduled for the 22nd of June, provided the government roadmap allows, or the scheduled July 2021 full council meeting, if the schedule doesn't allow. The parish council risk assessment would take effect on the first face-to-face meeting, and that's the recommendation. So I'll propose that. Do I have a seconder for that? I think Bob Brown was first there. I see those in favour of that proposal.
That's unanimous, thank you.
Okay. 1921 date of the next meeting. Well, as from the discussion we've just had, that's likely to be June or July, depending on precisely what happens with the lockdown. And with that, I'll kind of formally close the meeting. But I did discuss with Bob Harker beforehand. He wanted to say a few words as he is planning to formally sort of stand down as a parish councillor after 8 years. So give you a couple of minutes, Bob, just to make your comments now we've closed the meeting.
Well, thank you, Chair. I felt a bit like a spare part tonight, watching all the hands go up and people volunteering for things, but it sort of makes me confident I've made a difficult but right decision. And thank you for your time to allow me to just go with a modicum of grace rather than just walk out the door. And I always regret when people were told by Rosie or whoever that somebody has left, and I think it's a great shame sometimes we haven't a chance to say cheerio or whatever, and we've no idea why or what we might have done wrong. So I've been really chuffed by the number of new people who've come on the council. I know I'm not the longest serving person here, but I'm even more chuffed tonight to see Mark and Bob continue with the extraordinary work they do, and supported by the professionalism and expertise of Rosie and Melissa. We've got a great staff. We've got a fabulous team of councillors. I think it's wonderful. Someone like Luke, who's recently moved to the village, has stood forward and put his hand in the air. And I shall regret not getting to know Luke a bit more in the near future. Just like to say also, I've no hidden agenda in this. I'm perfectly fine, and I have no particular desire to go and travel the world. Not that might share, but quite a nice thing to do actually. But going forward, I still hope to do speed watch in the village, so I'll still be reasonably unpopular, although getting rid of the parish council hat is one thing. So I'll still do speed watch for another year or so and liaise with the traffic working party that whoever leads that in this next year or so. So Helen, I'll still be after your services and support for the speed watch sessions we run. I still hope to perhaps throw my experience, if that's the right word, behind the neighbourhood plan review. I'd be happy to volunteer on that, and I might even, if I can find some hidden talents, might even volunteer for a time bank volunteer. So I commend the parish council. I think we're in a very strong position, both financially and socially. I think there's a lot of good stuff that can happen in the future. So with that, I will be formally resigning, Mark, and writing to you either tonight or tomorrow morning just to wrap up and I'll copy you, Rosie, too. So to wrap up the niceties of this, but I just wanted to wish you all well. And I've got loads and loads and loads of files here. If anybody wants anything, there's an open door. I'm sure we've been knocking it down. Yeah, ha. But I wish you all well. And Mark, Bob, good luck to you both. I think it's fantastic the work you two do. I've learned a lot on the parish council, and I'm sure that anybody who's new to it will also learn also. And I wish you well. Thank you.
And thank you, Bob, for your sort of 8 years and the things that you've done. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Bob.
thanks, Bob.
Cheers.
Good.
Thank you.
Cheers.
And if anyone does know anyone who wants to be a parish councillor, if we can try and encourage a few more people to put their names for, I think we will have 2 vacancies that we have to advertise, don't we? So yeah, in the next few weeks, if we can just try and encourage people to put their names forward, that would be good. And with that, I'll stop the we can stop the stream, and the meeting can the meeting recording will be over.